we build a self-concept. We build a self-perception, which is, again, yun nga, syempre, informed by those behaviors that we do. The opposite is what cognitive dissonance is saying. So according to Festinger, there are instances when when our attitude and behavior don't align. There's an inconsistency between what we think or what we believe and how we behave. No? So isipin niyo na yung andun kayo sa ganong klaseng condition. Um, Iba yung iniisip nyo sa kinikilos ninyo. So, it's very uncomfortable to be in that kind of situation. It will, ano ba to? It will lead to stress, no, and tension within us. So, para ma-relieve yung tension na yon, we engage in many activities or actions. Pwedeng we reject, we explain away, or avoid new information. No, so, I'll give you an example on the next slide how this works. So for example, a person or this individual believes that domestic abuse is bad and no one should put up with it. Alam mo sa utak mo na hindi tama ang domestic abuse and yun nga, no one should put up with it. Walang dapat stay sa isang abusive relationship. Pero ikaw mismo ay nagsistay sa isang abusive relationship or that person, hindi pala ikaw, that person stays in an abusive relationship. So, of course, that's going to generate yung sinasabi nating tension or discomfort. So, to reduce that discomfort, ang gagawin niya, i-explain away niya yung na-experience niya para hindi siya maging severe or ma-lessen nga yung severity nung na-experience niya sa utak niya. So, sasabihin niya, my partner does not mean to hurt me, so it's not really abuse. No? Hindi naman niya sinasadya, kaya hindi naman talaga to abuse. So, kaya may ginawa naman kasi talaga akong hindi tama. So, hindi naman siya abusive. No? Nag-respond lang siya sa kung ano yung ginawa ko. So you are adjusting your attitude, not the behavior. Um, and then if you adjust your attitude, no, na lessen mo na yung severity ng experience mo, ngayon, mas nagme-make sense na yung ginagawa mo na nagsistay ka sa relationship na yun. So that's how cognitive dissonance works or might work for individuals. But of course, no, I have to also mention that this example is just an example. Of course, there are people, well, ganun din naman talaga nangyayari talaga sa abuse victims. But of course, I have to also mention that it's not simple to say na bakit hindi ka nalang umalis sa isang abusive relationship. Kasi nga, there are dependencies involved, there are ano ba, threats no involved when it comes to these kinds of situations. So, let's not ano let's not be dismissive and just say or ask, ba't hindi ka kasi umalis? Okay? Ayan. So if you want to take a screenshot of the juxtaposition or the side-by-side of cognitive dissonance and self-perception theory, this is your chance to do so. So again, cognitive dissonance is asserting that there's a difference, no? There's an inconsistency between attitude and behavior, while self-perception theory is actually saying that there is an alignment that happens between the two. Okay. Next, let's proceed to internal versus external locus of control. So, very simply, when we say internal locus of control, these are people who believe that they're they're the ones who are responsible for what happens to their lives. No? So sila yung may hawak ng buhay nila, sila yung dahilan kung bakit ganito yung na-experience nila. So positive and negative. So they're the reason for their own successes. They're also their reason for their own losses. And then for people with an external locus of control, they attribute or they blame external forces for their own circumstances. So if you're familiar, this is the usual example talaga for this is astrology. So if you're familiar with the term Mercury is in retrograde, so Mercury kasi is the planet in charge talaga or associated with, excuse me, communication, transportation, and technology. So if Mercury is in retrograde, meaning it appears to be umaatras, mukha siyang umaatras. then there will also be difficulties in technology, in transportation, in communication. So you have to be extra careful, ganun daw. So if a person halimbawa is with an external locus of control tapos nasira yung phone niya, they're going to say, Mercury is in retrograde kasi kaya nasira yung phone ko. Kahit nahulog talaga niya. Parang ganun. So, yeah. So those are the examples perhaps for internal and external locus of control. Okay. Next, we're going to talk very briefly about social influence. So when we say social influence, these are the alterations, the changes that we do to our behavior, our attitude, or feelings because of our social groups. So according to Kellman, there are three different types of social influence depending on your motivation for altering your behavior. So the first one is compliance, which the motivation for altering your behavior here is because you want to be liked by the group. So very common example, halimbawa, yung crush mo mahilig sa anime, kahit ikaw hindi ka masyadong mahilig sa anime, nanonood ka na rin ng anime. Next, identification. You very simply, very straightforward, you want to be identified with that group. Gusto mong makita ng lipunan na ikaw ay bahagi ng grupong ito. So, sorry kasi may mga kakilala ako halimbawa na um, I'm a teacher kasi I am employed as an instructor in college. So, meron akong mga kakilala halimbawa na ang ginagamit nilang ID lace ay UP, ganyan. Kahit hindi naman sila sa UP nagtatrabaho, doon lang sila graduate, ganyan. Or doon sila nag-grad school siguro. So, they want to be identified as, a UP student. So, they wear the merch of UP even if they're not in the context of UP anymore. So, anyway. Next is internalization. So, internalization is when you alter your behavior, your beliefs, your attitudes because you feel like doing so will be for a bigger purpose. So this is often observed in religious groups and even political organizations, I feel like communist organizations or progressive organizations. Kasi in-alter mo yung behavior mo, yung beliefs mo, ina-align mo with that group kasi naniniwala ka na that's how you will achieve communist society. Parang ganun. That's how you will help contribute to society. Or dun sa religion, mas obvious siguro. You alter your behavior, your beliefs kasi if you do so, you will go to heaven or you will achieve enlightenment. Okay? So yun yung social influence. Okay, let's go to the next slide on conformity and deviance. So medyo napag-usapan na natin kanina si deviance, di ba? We defined deviance as anything that violates, very simply, anything that violates social norms, no? So paglabag sa social norms. So the opposite is conformity, which is when you follow social norms, as simple as that, yung definitions. So on the next slide, we'll be talking about Robert K. Merton's ideas on the strain theory, particularly the deviance typology. Okay, so bakit strain theory yung tawag ni Robert K. Merton dito? So, ang default state kasi ng mga tao is to conform, no? So, if the circumstances are right, our default state really is to conform. But if circumstances force us to use alternative ways to achieve something or to do something to acquire our resources or kung ano man, we are then pushed into a corner, parang ganun. So, nagsistrain tayo. And eventually, we'll be falling under one of the four typologies of deviance by Merton, depending on whether we agree or disagree with cultural goals and institutionalized goals. So, ano ba muna tong mga to? So, pag sinabi natin cultural goals, these are goals that we have as a culture. So these are things that as a society, we believe that we should achieve. So halimbawa, gusto nating maging successful, gusto nating yumaman, no? These are cultural goals. Institutionalized means naman, these are the approved, parang ganon, sanctioned ways to achieve the cultural goals. So sabi nga ni Merton, depending on whether you accept or reject these, you will fall under a particular typology. So first is conformity. If you agree with the cultural goals and you accept also the institutionalized means, you are a conformist. So naniniwala ka or gusto mo ring yumaman, gusto mo ring maging successful, and naniniwala ka rin, no, na ang kailangan mong gawin para maging successful ay mag-aral ng mabuti, makatapos ng pag-aaral, and to work hard. Conformity yun. Next is innovation. When you reject the institutionalized means, even though you agree with the cultural goals. So, naniniwala ka or gusto mo ring yumaman, no? Pero hindi ka naniniwala na the way to do that is to finish school or to work hard. Instead, anong gagawin mo? Mag-iisip ka, mag-i-innovate ka, no, ng paraan. So, magiging influencer ka, halimbawa, or magiging criminal ka. So, if you don't subscribe, 'di ba, to the institutionalized means, yun, ganun yung mga pwedeng mangyari para ma-achieve mo yung cultural goals. Next is retreatism. So this is when you reject both the cultural goals and institutionalized needs. No, hindi ka naniniwala na kailangan mo yumaman, hindi ka rin naniniwala na kailangan mo maging successful. And at the same time, you also don't believe, no, that that the way to become successful is actually to study or to work hard. I don't have a particular group, no, in mind for as an example for retreatism. It's just that yun nga, ganun yung attitude nila towards things. No, they don't believe that they have to become successful. They also of course don't believe in the ways prescribed by society so that we can become successful. Next is ritualism. So ritualism is when you when you accept the institutionalized means but you reject the cultural goals. This sounds counterintuitive, no? Paano kaya na hindi ka naniniwala sa cultural goal pero tinatanggap mo yung institutionalized means? So, one example that I thought of were farmers. So, yung mga magsasaka, hindi naman na sila alam naman nila na hindi na sila yayaman sa pagsasaka or sa ginagawa nila dito sa Pilipinas, pero they still continue doing it. No, they still work hard, they still toil the land. And what's the reason for that? Maybe because it's what yun na yung nakasanayan nila o kaya yun yung kanilang alam, yun yung kaya nilang gawin, no? So, they continue to do it, no? Kaya siya ritualism kasi it's almost ritualistic na yung ginagawa na parang it's not for any sort of and it's not for any particular end, no, ginagawa mo na lang siya. And then finally, we have rebellion. So, kung meron kang sariling set of cultural goals, meron kang sariling set of means to achieve those goals, you are called a rebel. And the example that I can think of for this are communists again. Kasi nga, ano ba yung cultural goal nila? Their main goal is to abolish social classes, no, para walang mas mayaman, walang mas mahirap, and in order mangyayari lang yun kapag walang private property. So everything is shared, no. Everything is a property of everyone. And the means to achieve that, no, for them is to engage in armed revolution. So kaya siguro ang tawag nga sa kanila ay rebels. Ayan. So, yun yung typology, Vivian's typology ni Robert K. Merton. Ayan. Retreatism. Okay. Retreatism naman is, again, this is when a person rejects both the cultural goal and institutionalized means. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila naniniwala na kailangan nilang yumaman, hindi sila naniniwala na kailangan nilang maging successful, and hindi rin sila naniniwala na para maging successful ka, kailangan mo mag-aral ng mabuti. Scam yan, hindi yan totoo. No? So, walang particular group akong naiisip as an example for them, pero yun, people who have that kind of attitude towards goals and means ay part ng retreatism.
Saan pupunta? Di pa ako kasi.
Okay. Okay, other questions? Repetition of cluster A. Okay, so for cluster A, sa ano to, no, personality disorders, balik lang natin saglit. Yung, ayan. So for cluster A, personality disorders, they're usually characterized by hindi suspicious behavior, sorry, being suspicious or having a lack of interest in others, no? And the example that we have here is paranoid personality disorder. It's okay, Aliyah. Excuse me. Okay. Pabalik po sa psychosexual development. Okay. So, babalikan ko lang to and then after that, we can proceed to the discussion on Socksci Quiz 1. Ayan. Okay. So, let's try to cover what we can sa Socksci Quiz 1 and then itutuloy na lang natin sa second session for Socksci sa final coaching na. Ayan. Okay, for Socksci Quiz 1, let's have question number 1. So medyo mabilis ulit ang gagawin ko dito, guys. Pasensya na. Okay, so for question 1, ang tinitingnan or ang tinatanong sa atin ay ano daw yung hindi pa tama yung sinasabi about humanism and psychodynamism. The correct answer here is letter C kasi yung hindi naman sa humanism yung parapraxis. Kasi in the first place, one of the other terms for parapraxis is Freudian slips or yung slips of the tongue. So this is when you meant to say one thing, but what came out of your mouth was another. And according to psychodynamism, we can understand or we can see a part of your or your unconscious by analyzing what came out of your mouth. Okay, number 2, this is continuity when elements or objects are arranged on a line or a curve. Okay, so ito siya. Okay, for number 1, C2 is dog. Okay, next. For number 3, ang gustong mangyari sa research ay determine the average income. So this is a cohort analysis, di ba? So when you want to just see the trends, for example, in a particular group, analyze certain data based on that group, that's called a cohort analysis. Ethnography is cultural research, no? So this is most often ang ginagamit na method is participant observation. So you immerse with the community that you're studying so that you can get a better sense or a more nuanced idea of what you're writing about them or you're researching about them. FGDs, we know this already to be meron kang guide questions or set of questions, and then the group is going to discuss it, and then you're going to take note of that discussion. Then finally, case study, it's when you're after the richness of data rather than its quantity. So you have to really select a very special case or there's something really different about this case. That's why you're using it. Parang ganun. So yun yung difference ng mga research methods na ito or kinds of research na to. Okay, next for number 4, evolutionary theory of emotion. So this is related to Darwin's theory of evolution. So sinasabi niya dito, ay yung feelings or emotions na meron tayo today are remnants of our survival instincts, no, from the past. So ang answer dito is letter B, 1 and 3. Statement 1 is saying that love and affection exist or these feelings exist so that we will procreate. And then for number 3, fear is a remnant of our survival instinct of fight or flee, no, kapag may source of danger. Okay. Then number 5, ayan. So inability to draw the line between reality and fantasy, severely disordered thinking, and bizarre behavior is schizophrenia. Okay. So dissociative identity disorder is perhaps more popularly known as multiple personality disorder. Anxiety disorder, well, anxiety is normally felt by people. Di ba sabi nga natin, we feel fear in the presence of a danger. It becomes a disorder if number 1, it is now debilitating because number 2, you experience symptoms or you experience physiologically yung mga bagay na na-experience mo kapag merong threat, even in the absence of a threat or a danger. Okay, so nag-hyperventilate, nagpapalpitate, so on and so forth. Schizotypal disorder is when, or rather is a personality disorder. I think cluster B ito. It's characterized by having, I'm looking for the correct term, hindi siya weird. Unusual, ayan, unusual behavior, unusual thoughts or things that they think of, which leads to them having a difficulty maintaining relationships. So nasasama na rin tuloy sa condition nila yung attitude nila towards other people, towards relationships or establishing connections with other people. So yun yung sa schizotypal disorder. Okay, next, which among the following statements would align with Max Weber's views? Okay, so si Max Weber, na-encounter natin siya sa symbolic interactionism. So here, may iba rin siyang sinabi. No? So the answer is letter D for number 6. So ang sinasabi dito, excuse me, we are very obsessed with the idea of efficiency or being efficient to the point na na-eetsyepwera na nasa sideline na yung ethics, no? And this leads to further social problems. Ano ba yung tinutukoy nila dito ang modern society and its obsession with efficiency? Ito yung tinatawag natin bureaucratic theory. So you know what bureaucracy is probably, no? So this is um I guess the systematization, may ganun bang salita? Making things systematic, making things well organized, impersonal, efficient, formal, going through the proper processes, so on and so forth. And yung sinasabi ni Weber dito na nagiging ano na siya, in our obsession to become efficient, in our obsession to go through the proper processes, na sa sideline na yung ethics, no, na halimbawa, kapag nag-request ka sa government, halimbawa sa higher ed, pag nag-request ka ng pondo para sa whiteboard, baka next year na dumating yung whiteboard na yan or yung pondo para sa whiteboard, no? Kasi nga, may proseso pa na kailangang pagdaanan, no? Yung sahod, no, ng mga nasa state U, or I'm not sure if in all state U's, but in UP, for example, pag inaabot, no, ng halimbawa nag-start yung school year ng August, September, makakasahod ka pa November, December, no? So sobrang tagal kasi nga may proseso pang pinagdadaanan, may quote-unquote proper process na kailangan pagdaanan. So of course that's not just, 'di ba? Hindi na siya yun nga, nasa sideline na yung ethics, no, in an effort to become well, not efficient in this case, no, but to become or to go through the proper processes. Ayan. Next, number 7, when there is an impairment in selection and maintenance of goals, deficits are seen in the letter C, frontal lobe. Okay, for number 8, hindi pa natin to na-discuss the moral stages of development forwarded by Kohlberg. So dito sa situation, yung mga bata daw, their decision making is influenced by obedience and authority, obedience and consequence. So sabi kasi ni teacher, no, sabi ni mother, sabi ni nanay, no, kaya yun yung susundin ko. Consequence naman, papaluin kasi ako ni nanay kapag ganito yung ginawa ko. So, yun yung obedience and ano yun, consequence. So, this particular stage that I'm talking about is a part of the letter A, pre-conventional level. So, I'll be showing the different levels and stages on the next slide. Excuse me. Okay, so meron tayong three levels: pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. And each level is made up of 2 stages. So for pre-conventional, yun yung unang sinasabi natin, punishment and obedience. Next is instrumental relativist. So here, instrumental kasi you're using it for you're doing something for your own benefit. So parang, kaya mo siya ginagawa, kaya mo, halimbawa, iniisip yung kapakanan ng ibang tao kasi meron kang makukuha in exchange for it. You will be called a good girl or a good boy, ganyan, or something, may reward siguro, ganyan. So any concern for others is motivated by selfishness. And then next is interpersonal concordance. So this is when what the majority says, yun yung sinusunod mo. That's what you consider to be moral or correct. Law and order naman, there is an equivalence or pinagtatapat, ginagawang pareho, no, yung legality and morality. So kung ano yung nasa batas, that must be what is right. That must be what is moral. No, but of course we know that that's not necessarily true. There are certain things that are legal that might not be just, that might not be fair. Next is post-conventional level. So under that, you have social contract stage. So here, you you recognize, no, that your ideas of right and wrong are influenced by your own personal values, which may or may not align with what is the law. But if it is agreed upon democratically, i-honor mo, no, yung kung ano yung napagdesisyonan ng masa. You're going to ang tawag doon, you're going to concede, no, so to speak. Kasi yun yung napagdesisyonan ng masa. So, it's not necessarily majority goes or what's the decision of the majority. Dito kasi, ina-acknowledge mo pa rin na meron kang sariling ideas mo ng right and wrong. Pero syempre, kapag in order to honor democratic processes, in order to honor democracy, for the betterment of everyone then, you're going to concede, parang ganun. And then next is the universal ethical principles. So ito na, yung completely talaga, sa'yo, no? Sa'yo galing. Personally, deeply held moral principles na yung meron ka. And they may or may not align with the laws of the land, no? Yung mga batas na meron tayo. Okay, so yun yung moral stages of development ni Lawrence Kohlberg. Okay. For number 9, alin daw dyan yung mag-a-align sa sinasabi ni Durkheim? Again, Durkheim is a proponent of structural functionalism. So among the following statements, the one that aligns the most with structural functionalism is letter C, the existence of a collective conscience. Next, number 10. So you see in the choices Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft, first sentence pa lang, dapat may sagot na tayo. No? In a fast-paced neighborhood in a metropolitan area, the answer is Gesellschaft kasi sa urban area sila. But aside from that, the situation here is ayaw nila dun sa road widening kasi hassle para sa kanila, even if it's going to result in a benefit as beneficial for everyone in the community. Okay, number 11, hindi pa natin siya na-discuss. We're going to do so in the next slide. But it's actually possible for you to answer this question even without knowing the concept. Sabi sa last sentence, when a person's ideal self and actual experience are consistent or very similar, this state exists, no? So kung nagtutugma pareho, parallel, no, yung yung actual self and ideal self, then it is congruent, 'di ba? So ito lang naman din yung sinasabi ni Carl Rogers sa kanyang theory of personality. So um we encountered Carl Rogers a while ago sa humanism, no? So kasama siya doon kasi nga self-actualization yung kanyang focus. So sabi niya, may dalawang components daw yung self, which is self-image, which is how you see yourself right now, ano yung current experience, actual experience mo. And then ideal self, which is your ultimate version, your vision for yourself in the future, parang ganun. So, very simply, kapag konti pa lang yung similarity or konti pa lang yung overlap between self-image and ideal self, ang tawag doon ay incongruent personality kasi mahihirapan ka pang mag-achieve ng self-actualization. While if there is a huge overlap na sa self-image and ideal self, mas makatotohanan na or realistic na yung self-actualization. Excuse me. Next, for number 12, so sabi dyan, Hitler believed that Jews and other surrounding communities were inferior to his race. So this is an example of ethnocentrism, believing that your own culture is superior and others are inferior. Number 13, so we haven't discussed yet the different defense mechanisms, and we're going to do so on the next slide. But the situation here is yung character natin, si Y, nakakaranas siya ng unfair treatment sa trabaho, pero hindi niya yun nabibring up sa kanyang boss kasi natatakot siyang matanggal sa trabaho. So ang ginagawa niya, yung frustrations niya, ay tinitake out niya dun sa asawa niya, sa spouse niya. So this is an example of displacement as a defense mechanism. Okay, so on the next slide, we'll give a brief overview of the different defense mechanisms. So first, repression. So this is when we push down into our unconscious the stressful event or the traumatic event. No? So hindi na nagiging part no ng conscious experience natin. So ibinababa na natin siya. So what happens most of the time for people who do this as a defense mechanism, nagma-manifest sa panaginip, nagma-manifest sa ibang bagay, no? So that's the thing about the unconscious or the psychodynamic school of thought. They're saying that the unconscious if desires, urges, thoughts, so on, find their way out in one way or another. Na parang tinatry nilang umalis, lumabas through parapraxis, through dreams, so on and so forth. Next is denial. So this is when you don't acknowledge the reality of what is happening. You're focusing instead on other things, no, or you're emphasizing other things, and not acknowledging what is happening. Projection is when there are things that you don't like about yourself, or there are things that you're not satisfied about yourself or guilty of, and then you attribute that to others. No, you accuse others of having that or doing that. No, the thing that you actually did wrong. Funny. Displacement is yun yung example na binigay natin kanina when you take out your frustrations on not the source of the frustration, but on someone else or something else, like a dog, for example, or your spouse, people at home. Regression is when you go back in psychological time. So, halimbawa, adult na siya, pero dahil sa traumatic event or stressful experience, para siyang naging bata na, yung kanyang pananalita parang bata, naglalaro siya parang bata, ganyan. Then finally, we have sublimation, which is similar to displacement in a sense that you're substituting someone else, no, for your to take out your frustrations on, not on the source, in other words. So the difference is for sublimation, you are taking it out on something that is more socially acceptable. So meaning you take it out on the punching bag, you take it out through working out in the gym, exercising. So you dispose of, or you rid yourself of the excess negative energy through doing these things. Okay, so yun yung defense mechanisms. Okay. Next. Ayaw mag-next. Ayan. Number 14. Due to a head injury, ang damage ay nasa vision, primarily sa vision. So the damage was in probably the occipital lobe. Okay. Next tayo, number 15. Okay. So ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, no, na a mafia, for example, would agree with the cultural goals, pero hindi sila gagawa or gagawa sila ng alternative means like pagnanakaw siguro or whatever para ma-acquire yung wealth na yon. So that is an example of letter D, innovation. Number 16. So in this situation, ang nangyari, sabi sa last sentence, the teenager or the 13-year-old later on became fixated with sucking on his thumb before going to sleep because of the separation of his parents. So this is regression, no? Going back in psychological time. Next, number 17, which among the statements would align with Comte's philosophy? So I mentioned this during the introduction. The answer is letter B. The social sciences could uncover universal truths operating on the social level of people's lives, akin to or similar to the laws of nature established by the natural sciences. Next, number 18. So in this situation, nagpunta sa therapist si character. Tapos, na-associate niya yung therapist niya sa kanyang tatay. So parang ang naging kilos na niya, pananalita niya, mga thoughts niya, parang ka-interact niya na yung tatay niya. And we call this letter D, transference. Okay, I'll give a rundown of answers later on before we dismiss para if in case you missed some of the answers to the questions. Okay, next, number 19, the condition of Philippine transportation has reached a point of unmanageability. So, ano daw yung naging response ng market, no? Ibig sabihin, initiated siya ng market para matugunan yung kakulangan or para ma-improve yung mobility. Not necessarily social mobility kasi iba pa yan. Mobility as in paggalaw, no? Or pag-transport ng sarili from one place to another. So, the market came up with TNVS, no? Or Transport Network Vehicle Services like Grab, Angkas, Joyride, Move It, at kung ano-ano pa. Well, I think apat lang pala. Number 20. So, the choices were asked to choose among positive, negative reinforcement punishment. So here, ang ginawa ay pinapahiya yung mga nalilate. No? So you're adding something which is yung pamamahiya, and then in order to reduce the chances of that behavior being repeated. So that's positive punishment. Okay, next, number 21. So in this situation, yung character natin ay isang estudyante na nagpasa ng kanyang paper sa kanyang prof. Tapos si prof nakita yung potential ni student. So ang ginawa ni prof, nag-comment ng nag-comment, pinuno ng pula yung paper ni student. Tapos ang naging interpretation ni student ay, hala, na-discourage siya, ganyan. Hindi na siya pumasok. So this is the formation of self-perception called looking glass self. So this is when you base your self-perception on what others think of you or on what others say about you, or at least how you understand or how you interpret how other people see you or look at you. Okay, next, number 22. So in this question, tinatanong sa atin, ano daw yung function or role ng religion according to Malinowski dito? So in the situation, meron daw dalawang klase ng fishing. Merong inland lagoon fishing and deep sea ocean fishing. So kapag inland lagoon fishing, hindi na nagko-conduct ng rituals yung community. Pero kapag deep sea ocean fishing, nagre-ritual pa sila. So the answer here is letter A kasi kapag inland lagoon fishing, the people can rely on their own expertise. No? They can rely on their own skills. They can refer to their experiences in the past. Kasi the situation in an inland lagoon is predictable, kumbaga. So wala namang bago, parang gano'n, na mangyayari perhaps dun sa inland lagoon fishing. Unlike sa deep sea ocean fishing na there are a lot of things that are out of the people's control. So they have to then ask for the help of a higher being, no? The assistance of a higher being. Kasi nga, mas unpredictable. Kahit gaano ka kagaling, kahit gaano ka ka-experienced, if the sea is against you, the sea is against you. So kaya yung answer dito is letter A. So because of unpredictability, kailangan pa nilang mag-engage sa rituals. Number 23, again, you see in the choices Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. So first sentence pa lang, again, children of indigenous groups in Asia and Africa are treated as children of the whole village. Okay, so ibig sabihin, anak ng isa, anak ng lahat, or mag-aalaga ay lahat ng members ng community. That's it. This is Gemeinschaft. Okay, mag-extend lang ako ng onte kasi malapit naman na tayong matapos. For number 24, the situation here is gets na nung bata yung law of conservation, no? Na yung sa beaker tsaka sa graduated cylinder kanina. So ang tinatanong sa atin dito ay edad. So remember kanina yung technique 0 to 2 plus 5 plus 5. Okay, 0 to 2. So this is the third stage, di ba? The concrete operational stage. So pangatlo, 0 to 2 first stage, second stage plus 5. So 2 to 7, third stage 7 to 12. So the answer is letter D, 9 years old. Okay, for number 25, we haven't yet discussed episodic and semantic memory. But what is being asked here is, number 1, ano yung memory involved in recalling rules of grammar, and number 2, what's the memory involved in recalling the interview. So when we say episodic memory, the answer is semantic and then episodic. So when we say semantic memory, this is the long-term storage of facts and is a form of declarative memory. So long-term storage of facts. So dito na nakalagay yung rules of grammar, trivia, that you know the names of people, the birthdays of people, operations, at kung ano-ano pa. And then when you say episodic memory, so the keyword there is episode, this pertains to the memory involved in recalling your own experiences. Kaya yung sagot dun sa una ay semantic kasi yung involved naman sa pag-recall ng rules or conventions in writing is semantic memory. And then dun sa interview, it's going to be episodic memory. Sorry, episodic pala. Kasi you're recalling your experience, no, during that interview. Okay. Next, number 26, ano yung tamang sequence ng hierarchy of needs? Anong pinakauna? Physiological. So A versus D na lang tayo. After physiological, anong sunod? Love and belonging ba agad? Hindi. Therefore, the answer is letter D. Physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, and then self-actualization. Okay. For number 27 and 28, we haven't discussed this yet, so I'll introduce this on the next slide. Yung tinatawag na triangular theory of love by Dr. Sternberg. So, according to him, there are three components of love. You have intimacy, passion, and commitment. Intimacy, how much you like each other. Passion, your attraction to each other. Commitment is how your ability to see each other being with exclusively with each other for a long time. So if you, depending on the combinations daw, it refers to a particular type of love. So if there's only intimacy and passion, you like each other, you're attracted to each other, but you don't see yourself being committed to each other, that's called romantic love. If only intimacy and commitment are present, so you like each other, you see yourself being with each other for a long time, but passion is absent, no, you don't feel attracted to each other, that's called companionate love. And then finally, if only passion and commitment are present, you see yourself being with each other, but you're only you are attracted to each other, but you don't like the person. That's fatuous love. Okay, so parang fake or hindi totoo. So 27 is asking us kapag absent yung intimacy, anong tawag? That is letter B, fatuous love. And if all three are present for number 28, all three are present, it's called letter D, consummate love. Okay? Now, for number 29, ano daw yung objectives ng research proposal kapag ang influenced siya by Comte and Durkheim. Comte and Durkheim, positivism and structural functionalism. So the answer here, best answer would be letter B, 1 and 3. Kasi number 1, examine societal forces which affect suicide rates. So you're looking at the parts, diba, or the components of society that influence nga yung suicide rate. And then number 3, if there are factors in common. So parang ginawan mo lang siya ng added dimension of analysis, pero you're still essentially looking at the factors, diba, that influence the people who take their own lives beyond their personal mental state. So what are present, no, in society that contribute to their um, commission of suicide. So that's for number 29, letter B. And then for number 30, problems in motor function ito. So this is letter B, damage to the cerebellum. Okay. Yay, 3 minutes lang tayo nag-extend. So I'll be giving an overview or a rundown rather of answers for quiz number 1 if you'd like to double check. No? So i-dictate ko yung answers. Number 1, C. Number 2, dog. Number 3, C. Number 4 and 5, boy. Number 6, dog. Number 7, C. Number 8, A. Number 9 to 11, C. 12, boy. 13, dog. 14, A. 15, dog. 16A, 17 boy, 18 dog, 19A, 20C, 21 to 23A, 24 dog, 25 boy, 26 dog, 27 boy, 28 dog, 29 boy, and 30 boy. Ayan. Okay, yay, natapos natin. Okay, so at this point, do you guys have any questions or anything you would like to clarify? Okay, thank you, Shania, for the response, the confirmation. Ma'am, may announcements po ba for the class? Okay, so we have a question here. Difference between Gemeinschaft and Gesellschaft. Okay, so a Gemeinschaft is collectivist yung nature ng culture or ng social relation. So yung in making decisions, a person would consider yung how their decision will impact other members of the community rather than just focusing on themselves. Gesellschaft naman, yun yung nakafocus ka sa self mo. So in making a decision, you're not necessarily going to have to consider other people's how your decision is going to impact other people. So mas collectivist si Gemeinschaft and then individualist si Gesellschaft. And again, sabi natin, Gemeinschaft is more often observed in rural areas, while Gesellschaft is more observed in urban areas, probably because of how they access their resources. Sa Gemeinschaft kasi, or rather sa rural areas, there's an interdependency. No? So, yung um, ang tawag dito, yung concerns na I feel like yung things na gagawin mo ay posibleng makaka-impact sa mga tao sa paligid mo kasi nga the nature of living there is or the way that you acquire your resources is probably through the land, through the environment. So you have to also do your responsibility. Parang ganun. Pero sa urban areas, mas less na yung kailangan mong gawin. Parang ganun. Your actions are probably not necessarily going to influence other people, no? So you don't necessarily concern yourself with others. No? Um, what are the next subjects for Saturday and Sunday? I think they're still organizing the schedules of the lecturers. So I'm not sure if meron na right now. Pero ayun, baka you can ask when the date is closer. Ayan. Aliyah has a question. Do you have tips on what to prioritize in studying for Socksite subtests? I feel like you guys know a lot already about Socksite based on the subjects that you've had in senior high school and even your GE courses. So you have to really reflect on yourself then. Ano ba yung mga hindi ko pa alam? Ano ba yung mga um, siguro fields or branches rather ng social sciences na hindi pa ako ganun ka-familiar and then start there. No, so dun sa mga nalista nating branches, alin dun yung hindi ka pa masyadong maalam and that's how you prioritize perhaps. I feel like that's a very general advice though or tip on how to study for SOCSI, no? But yeah, kasi depende rin kasi sa sa lumalabas. Kumbaga, every year is going to be, of course, have a different set of items. Minsan nakafocus sa anthro, minsan nakafocus sa, well, madalas talaga sa socio kasi ngayon yung pinaka-broad din. No? So, um, ayun, I feel like being exposed din naman to a lot of concepts is definitely going to help you already. So kung maganda naman yung GE program ng university niyo, I feel like maganda naman yung chances ninyo. So at least from there, the next step you can take is familiarize yourself with other fields or sorry, other branches that you might not be familiar with. Is it best to practice on situational questions? Yes, definitely, So the thing about soft sci questions, I feel like for other subtests din naman, the tendency is application questions talaga siya. Weber halimbawa. So you'd still have to know kung sino yung proponents ng alin, but expect that the questions are still going to be application questions. No? Kasi higher order thinking skills yung tinitingnan natin lalo na sa SOCSI. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang siya simpleng recall, but it's also your ability to apply the things that you do remember. Parang ganun. So, yeah, expect situational questions. So, as much as possible, yun yung i-practice natin. And reading comprehension also very, very, very important since yun nga, much of the questions are going to be situational. So, kung hindi mo na-gets yung situation, may hirapan ka nang makasagot agad. If you misunderstand the situation. Okay. Other questions or clarifications? Ayan. Tambay lang kayo sa Twitter. Feeling ko marami kayong ma-pick up na concepts, no? Kung hindi kayo gaanong palabas I guess. Pwede nyo idaan sa ganun. Panonood ng videos perhaps. Mga crash course online, I think very helpful din naman yan. Ayan. So kung wala na pong questions or concerns, I think that's it for us this afternoon. Yun, your next sessions will be Saturday, Sunday kayo, di ba? Tama ba? Ayan. So, antabayan na lang natin ang email natin in case there are announcements. So, if you have any concerns, you can also reach out to our staff. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attention and participation. Best of luck and see you around. Okay. Thank you.